This is the GIJoe Classified Dusty body, stripped down so that I can make the RIPCORD body. We're going to go ahead and paint this with a lighter green and then do some camo patterns with a dark green, probably with an airbrush. So that's what it looks like right now, completely stripped down. I'm going to have to mask these boots off, and that's about it. And the neck and the hands. Yeah. We'll mask those all off and spray everything down, and then I'll repaint everything here. But this is basically all I need. Hello, YouTubers, and today I'm going to go ahead and paint the head that I bought from Etsy. This is to make the GIJoe Classified RIPCORD Custom. As you can see, that head is absolutely beautiful. And later on in the video, I'll tell you where you can get that head and who you can get it from. We're going to use Vallejo liquid mask. This is good stuff. We can put this right over top of this flesh color because I'm going for more of a toy look, not so much, you know, like a scale model look. I still want it to kind of look like a toy. I want it to resemble more of the toy I had when I was a kid. So we're going to lay this Vallejo liquid mask right over that skin tone there and there real quick, and then we can move on after that. I've used this stuff before on a lot of other models, and it seems to work real well. And as you can see, my hand's shaking like crazy. I don't have a steady hand, but you can kind of see what we're going for. And if it's too wet and it covers something that you don't want covered, it's okay, because we can always go back and touch up. And actually, I'm probably going to have to put 2 or 3 coats on this anyways. I'm probably using too big of a brush, but that's okay. That's all part of the fun. So there's a first coat. And like I said, it'll have to be touched up anyways. This isn't a one-shot deal with this stuff. And after this is applied, I will spray this all with Tester's black, probably flat paint, maybe gloss. Actually, probably gloss paint. That way the helmet's kind of shiny, and the mask is too. Because like I said, we're kind of going more for the look of the 1980s RIPCORD. And we'll move on from here. This is the RIPCORD parachute that I got off of Etsy. Looks really, really cool. And as you can see, there's the old one in there. And we're going to try to get this to be the same color as that. And I'm probably just going to use Tester's like a military green to make that dark for this figure. But so we'll go ahead and paint that up. Okay, I want you to check this out. I got the body painted. Of course, like I had said before, you're gonna get some runs in there. I'm gonna touch that up, and that's okay. But we're going for this as much as we can. Okay, so there is the body. That is the Dusty GIJoe Classified body, painted. Okay, and that is probably the closest I can get to that color right there without I mean, that's the molded plastic, so it's not gonna look like that. But that's the closest I can get. Gonna paint these boots black anyways. I was gonna airbrush this camo, that darker green on there, but I don't know, I'm thinking about hand painting that by brush, and just maybe even doing it like a, I don't know, maybe even a grayish green, or I don't know, I haven't really decided yet. But I did paint, as you can see, I didn't go into detail. I did paint the parachute, and I don't know if I want to go into detail with it. I might paint the silver buckles here, but I'm not going to go crazy with it, because like I said, I think I want this to look more of like a toy than I do like if I were to paint a you know, a 1/35 scale model, or even a 1/48 scale model. Now that is the stuff that I put on there to keep that paint from going through. Let's see if I can get this off on camera. I mean, it's always a pain trying to get this stuff off, especially on camera. It's usually why I don't film this stuff. I usually film the after effect. But you can see it kind of starting to come loose. Trying not to hurt the plastic underneath. But you can see there is the original color of the guy's face. Sometimes you get lucky and it starts to peel right off like that, and other times you really got to work at it. Like I said, I don't want to mess him up while I'm trying to peel that off. I got some down in here. There's some that came off pretty easy. Of course, that was hooked to that. There's a little bit of extra there. That's his neck underneath the mask. Got some on his neck back here. This stuff works great. It's just, you know, trying to get it off. It can be kind of a pain, but you can kind of see where that's going. I really, like I said, I want to be careful with this because I don't want to mess the face up, you know. So that might be something that I think I might just finish off camera. But like I said, I wanted you to see how it works. Kind of a pain, but that's not bad, you know. So I just wanted you to see that. And then, of course, I'm gonna paint up his face, and that'll be our GIJoe Classified Custom Ripcord. So let me start working on that. Okay, that's all peeled off. As you can see, I got some touch-up work to do, but that's okay. We all knew that was coming, and that'll be okay. Okay, so I mixed up some of this blue and green. Let me see if I can get it in there. It's Vallejo paint, olive camo green, and Prussian blue. I kind of mixed that together because the outfit, it has a blue tint to it. So we're just gonna kind of try this out and see how that looks. Like that. There's one there. Let's bring this one kind of like that. I'm trying to look at this character's pants in the picture, not so much, you know, maybe not so much the action figure itself. I'm kind of going more for the box art. So just kind of see if I can get, yeah, that way you can kind of see there what I'm doing, you know, trying to, there we go. But like I said, we're trying to make it look more like I figure I'll move this around later. I'm only going to paint so much. Kind of show you what I'm doing here, you know. And then you got to be careful of where it bends there and that crack to make sure you get some in there so that it looks the way it's supposed to look, like it's part of the outfit altogether. And then maybe we'll go ahead and look at the figure too. But I don't know, I probably should have did this with an airbrush, but just kind of didn't feel like it. Just kind of wanted to paint. And because it looks like what they did was took an airbrush on the figure and just went right down that side, and the same with this side. So, you know, that's what they did there. But we're not going to do it that way. Take our time and just kind of paint and enjoy ourselves a little bit. So when this is done, this is gonna look pretty cool. Gonna look hopefully almost just like the RIPCORD action figure that I had when I was a kid. And unfortunately mine was thrown out in the trash because back then the O-rings weren't easy to come by compared to today. So usually once your guy broke, you played with him like he was half blown up or whatever until your parents found out that he was sitting around, he was broken, and they said, okay, time to throw it out. And that was that. It was thrown out. So already I'm liking what I'm seeing. So I think this is gonna work out pretty good. It has a good tint to it. I like that tint. And it's kind of it's bringing out that lighter green. Let me do this. See? Okay, now you can kind of see what I'm going for here, but it's hard to get that look because that's molded in that light green color, and then it looks like they sprayed that darker bluish green over top. So just kind of gonna make it look as close as we can. I know I said before I was going to make it look more like the toy, but I'm still kind of up in the air on it. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm thinking about getting some military wash and throwing it on this outfit and getting the flush wash and throwing it on there. I kind of like the looks of the Super 7 G.I. Joes. Like, they look really cool. I'm not going to be able to, you know, get that look with this one, but you know, mainly because I bought a really nice head sculpt from Etsy, and that head sculpt is more like something that you would paint up and make look really good. So we're not really going to get what we want out of that. That's meant for making it look realistic, not making it look cartoonish. So I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. We'll see. But when you're doing a custom, it's however you want to do it. That's the way I look at it, just like when you're doing scale models. And this is my first custom, so I'm going to do it however I want to do it. It's going to be sitting on my shelf. I'm going to be the one who gets to stare at it for the rest of my days and enjoy it. So we're just going to do it how we like. If you decide to do one too, you're going to do it the way you like it. That way you can enjoy it. So, but this is one I really do kind of hope they come out with a classified ripcord. I would definitely, that's one I'd definitely buy and leave it in the package. Probably not even pull it out. But yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of hopeful for quite a few classified guys to come out. Can't wait to see that Shipwreck and Torpedo out. Shipwreck was another one of my favorite guys as a kid. Really liked him. And Torpedo is pretty cool. I'm actually surprised though that they're going with Torpedo instead of Wetsuit. But they aren't really making the first batch of guys from like 82, 83. So maybe that's their way of trying to do that, which is nice. I think one of the only guys I had out of that group was the Laser Trooper. I did have him. I was lucky enough to have him as a kid. But those ones were pretty old and not really on the shelf, you know. When I was a kid, we're going to leave his sleeves go. We aren't going to touch those. We're going to paint around those. That way that looks like it's supposed to be. Just left alone like it's maybe a different kind of material. That looks pretty good. Let's wrap this one up around like that for something a little different. There we go. I'm liking the look of this so far. This is definitely working out. Let's put some there, maybe some up on the collar. Of course, that now inside here, that t-shirt area, you know, on the guy, his t-shirt isn't showing, but what I think I'm going to do is the standard military t-shirt was brown anyways. I'm not sure what it is now. I assume it's still the same, but I could be wrong. And I think we're just going to go ahead and paint a brown t-shirt on him as a nod to the real thing. But yeah, this is working out pretty good. I'm liking it. Move him around. We'll get his other leg here. Okay. Well, I don't want to bore you on this video too much, so I think you kind of get the idea, and I'll finish this up and then we'll continue. Okay, all done. Pretty happy with the results. Had to spray that with some clear, but that's kind of like what we're going for there. Let me pull this in. Okay, so you see him there, and we kind of get, it's not exactly the same, but you know, we're going for the same thing. Looks fairly close. I'm gonna definitely have to try to make that red patch. That'll be fun. Red will be easy. It's just whatever he has on that is what's gonna be interesting, trying to paint with a brush about that size. So you can kind of see. But we'll go spray that with some clear and move on. Okay, we're going to start out with some dark flesh. That is probably way too much. You don't need a whole lot, that's for sure. So we're going to kind of slowly put that in there. And then we will lighten everything up as we go. After this, we're going to put that flush wash in there, and that'll kind of darken things up. Okay. This is the tedious work. Yeah, it looks like I've already got places that I have to touch up here and there with the black, and that's okay. It happens. You just don't want it to happen, that's all. Plus, this is kind of hard getting in this little spot. But, like I said, it's alright. Sometimes these things happen. Okay, so you see what we got there. Get that little bit there. So I got a one touch-up spot like right there that I got to get a little bit of black, but we have to let that dry. Throw in some flesh wash in there, and that'll bring out all the creases. And then after that, we'll go with medium and light and lighten it all up. Okay, while we're waiting on that, we're going to go ahead and paint some silver on here. All the paints I use are Vallejo acrylic, and let's see, yeah, there you go. They work great. There we go, that's better. And if you mess up, it's not too hard to you know, just wash it off. It works out real nice. And you gotta make sure you're not shaking that day. Sometimes I'll get the shakes and I can't paint for nothing. So if you're shaking real bad for some reason, be best to, especially if you're doing modeling, it would definitely be best to just maybe glue stuff that day or find something else to do. Okay, yeah, it's looking good. I wasn't sure whether I was going to do this, but I don't know. As I go along, I think I'm going to put a little bit more detail than what I had planned on this, just to kind of make it a little bit different. This chute was also bought from Etsy along with the head. I have a rifle coming too that looks just like the one that he had in the pack back in the 80s, but it has yet to show up. So we may do this video without it. Depends on if it comes. I've had these for weeks now, and the rifle still hasn't shown up, so I couldn't wait any longer. But anyways, at the end of the video, I'll tell you who I ordered these off of in case you want to get some for yourself. And make your own, or you know, you don't even have to make yourself a ripcord. You could do anything with these. You could just paint it up and slap it on a classified guy or a Valleverse guy, one of the Action Force guys. If you're interested in those, you can check out my reviews on those too, because those are pretty cool as well. And I think they're doing a great job on all that stuff. Lots of detail. They got some cool stuff. And whoever's doing these up, they got some talent too. These are the whoever's making stuff like this, you know, Hasbro needs to check these guys out and say, hey, gee, maybe we should check into doing that stuff too, because they got some cool stuff. And say, hey, I wouldn't mind getting you to sculpt for us, especially the heads. I mean, they're amazing. They are amazing. Okay, it looks like I got 2 more. Like I said, we're not going to go crazy with it. I'm not even going to do the underneath because you're not going to see it. And it's just an action figure for me that's going to sit on the shelf. If it was a model, I'd probably go a little bit more crazy with it because I like to do a lot of detail stuff, but this is just something for me, and probably not too many people are going to see it besides you. But that's pretty much it for the silver, as you can see. So it worked out real nice. I did spray this. I painted the brown shirt, and I actually used some of that brown, put it on his neck, and then made a wash. So that's kind of nice. And then I did take some Vallejo leather, and I decided to just go ahead and touch up his boots instead of painting them black. I think it'd be cool for some brown boots instead. Okay, so I think we'll go ahead. I will have to put some white right in there at some point, but maybe try to paint that right there, that gauge, but or whatever that is. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'll probably do that off camera too. And I think I am going to throw some military shader on all this stuff. I don't know, I wasn't going to, but the more I look at it, the more I think about it, I think I really make it look good. So we're just going to go for it. We're going to somewhat go all out on this and try to make it look cool. Just kind of put the stuff there to kind of see what's going on so far. We'll slide this under. All right. So there's that. There's that. Okay. Okay, so usually I put a little bit of water with this military shader. You can slap this stuff, you can lather it all over this thing if you want. I don't know, I try to stay more with the creases. That way you don't have to go back and touch up, but you can see that starting to bring that out. So, and you can find this at your local hobby shops, I'm sure, or you can order it online. This stuff is pretty good. It really brings things out, gives that deep look that you want. Bring that up, see, and that's not even dry yet. You kind of get the idea of what we're doing. I'll run some on this, and I think the outfit, I'll just go ahead and paint that off camera, but you can kind of get an idea, you know, of what it's going to look like when it's done. And then that's got that gloss look, but after you shoot it with some of that flat clear coat, that's going to go away, and it's going to look great. It's going to look the way you want it, you know, because if you're going for the action figure look, yeah, you're going to want it to look kind of glossy. But if you're going for somewhat of a real look, they don't have shiny uniforms, you know. They want dull colors. That way the enemy can't see you. So that's what you're going for. There is the military shader, the wash that I'm using. I should probably show all the stuff I use. Give you an idea of what to look for in case you're interested in doing something like this. Like I said, you can just kind of slap that on and let it do its thing. It's all going to run to the creases. So This stuff is not Vallejo. This is Quick Shade Washes, War Paints, thearmypainter.com, www.thearmypainter.com. So that's where you want to look to see if you can find that stuff. Give you an idea, they got colors too. They got all kinds of paints. I've used some of their paints. They're okay, but I like Vallejo better. But this stuff is great. I mean, you can get some Vallejo paint too and kind of water it down if you want. Just depends on how you feel, I guess. What you're wanting to get into. But as you can see, it's starting to show what you want it to look like. You can make it darker wherever you want to make it darker. Kind of do whatever you want to do, really. Especially these straps. Get that in there nice and good. And you can go over this as many times as you want, I guess, but I usually just do it once and that's good enough for me. I mainly use this on, minifigures for tabletop gaming. Every once in a while I might try using this on a 1/35 scale, but for the most part, this is a quick way to shade, your tabletop guys. And I try to do things as cheap as I can because, as you probably know, modeling is not a cheap hobby anymore. Years ago it used to be, now it's not, unfortunately. So you gotta try to do what you can without getting too ridiculous. And this military shader, this lasts a long time. This bottle, I think I bought 2 bottles and I've had them for probably 2 years and I'm still using both bottles. So it lasts you a long time. It's not like you're gonna run out. And I've painted a lot of figures with that. So, like I say, you're not gonna run out. Plenty enough to go around. And you just keep blending that in. Okay, well, I'm gonna finish this up and move on to the figure and then come back. Okay, so I put the military shader all over the uniform, the pack, everything, the skin, okay? So that's the military shader I used for the uniform and the parachute. And then this is the flesh wash that I used for the skin tones. And here I'll show you, because we still got to do a lot of work on this, but this kind of shows you what it does. See how it gets in there into the creases and into the areas that you're gonna be able to get to, and then I'll highlight that with medium flesh tone and then later skin tone, and that'll bring it out. That'll make it look real nice. There is one of the hands, as you can see. Put that on those. Okay, I did put the red circle on there. I have to try to take that small brush and do that, the wings. It looks like a parachute coming out of it. Did have one slight problem right here on the pack. It cracked on me, so I had to super glue that back together and paint over it, but that's okay, no big deal. Like I said, this is just for me. This isn't for anyone else. But as you can see, that military shader really brought that out. It makes it look good. So far, that's what we have. And let's bring this in, kind of get an idea there. It's looking the way that I want it. And then of course, you know, after we get done with most of this, I'm gonna bring the camera back and we'll take a look at it and you get to see everything together. But so far, that's looking pretty good. That did pull that up a little bit. You can kind of see I used that lighter green up in there and then I sprayed over top of it. I didn't care much for that look. So I might throw some military shader up in there because it looks like that's not going to come back down because that pushed that up, but that's okay. I kept that there on purpose because as you can see on here, he kind of has a little bit, I don't know, there's another picture of him where he has something like that, the way his uniform kind of blouses. So maybe I'll throw a little bit of military shader up in there and get that looking good. And we'll go ahead and start on the head. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and go with the medium flesh tone, and that is Vallejo medium flesh tone, Hobby Lobby. I think that's an old one. That tells you how long that I've had these. That's $2.99. I believe they're $4 something now. They're close to $5, and they've been that way for a few years. So that tells you how long that's lasted. That's pretty good. Keep that in mind when you're going to use Vallejo. They don't look very big, the bottles, but they last a long time. So let's see. Hopefully that stays in focus. Okay. We're going to get in here. And we're just going to kind of go in the areas where the light's going to hit him, which would be in this area. I'll leave those other parts dark. I'm going to get in the cheek area like that. Maybe a little in here. You still see, that's good. Maybe a little bit right in there, kind of leaving some of the dark, as you can see. Okay, let's show you. There's a difference. See, we're bringing that out, and there's that. Okay, let's try this over here. Hopefully that camera stays in focus. Oh no. Okay, a little bit in there. Bring some down. Okay, that's what we're kind of going for. Kind of gummed it up a little bit there. It's not, I didn't make it as soft as I did on the other side, but that's okay. Maybe we even get a little bit right here, because we can. A little bit right in there. Kind of bring them eyes up. That looks pretty good. I'm not used to painting figures this big. See, I guess you could really, you have to practice that sometime. So, anyways, there's that one. And we're gonna give it a few minutes, and then we can paint the lighter stuff. I'm gonna have to find some white for his eyes, and not really sure what color his eyes were. We'll have to do, maybe we'll do some blue or something, make those pop, or brown, it doesn't matter. And I'll show you this. I did put some white in there, and I did paint the patch. Kind of looks like it. It's close enough. The action figure didn't even have the patch on it, so that's a bonus. But there's the patch. So make it as close as I can, just for fun. And we're gonna give that some time to dry, and then we will finish that up with another light tone on the skin, and then we'll paint the eyes and the eyebrows, And we'll call it a day for the head and start putting him together. Okay. Okay, I went ahead and did the eyes. Vallejo white and Vallejo brown. And let's go ahead real quick and do the skin tone. And you gotta shake those up because wow, they really, if you don't, you got a lot of watery stuff. Okay. Let's get up here and we're just going this area right in here. Oops. A little bit in here. Maybe a little bit down in here. Right in there. And that's gonna bring that out. We're just highlighting. Okay. Don't need a whole lot. Just in the areas that we want to bring out. You can see that's looking really good. I like that. I think that is a keeper. And real quick while we're here, I'll try to get in focus. I think we'll try to do his hair. I'm kind of mixing a red and a brown because I know that his hair was kind of, no, I don't think this is going to work out too well, but hey, we'll give it a shot. May have to go over this with a lighter coat, but okay, let's see what we got. Not too bad. Okay. Yeah, not too bad. And you can always, if something happens, you can always kind of clean that up, you know. So that looks pretty good. That's about the way we want him to look. All right, we'll let that dry. We'll spray it with some doll coat, and then we'll go ahead and put them together. And actually, that was Vallejo Scarlet that I used. Skin tone. See there, $4.99. There's the difference. I also used Flat Earth in this video. Oily Steel. Leather Brown. I used the US Dark Green and the Prussian Blue together to make the darker camo pattern. Black, white, there is dark flesh and medium flesh, and then of course we used our military shader and flesh wash, and that is all the paints that we used for this. They are all acrylic, so you don't have that nasty cleanup. The two brushes I used were these two right here. This one was a little thicker for the camo. This one's a little thinner for the detail work. So those are the two brushes that I used on that project. Okay, let's get it put together after we spray it. Okay, and there he is. He's all done. First things first, let's take a look at the paints used. Rust-Oleum Camouflage. I'll just put those right back there. Tester's black paint, flat enamel, military green Tester's enamel, and a Krylon flat clear coat. And that was everything sprayed on him. So let's take a look at the finished product. Looks pretty good. Okay, we'll bring it in for a close-up. Let's go like that. There we go. There he is. That's my my patch. Kept the boot knife that originally came with the Dusty action figure. Painted gauge. And that is pretty much it. I think you can see that looks pretty close to the original thing. We'll zoom in a little bit. And there you go. I hope you enjoyed. I will leave down in the comments where I got those heads on Etsy. And where I got, or actually, I'm going to do another one. That's why I say heads. Where I got this head on Etsy and where I got that parachute on Etsy. So I hope you enjoyed. If you liked, please subscribe. Take the time out to thank a veteran. Thank them for their service. And God bless.